Hello, everyone. I'm here, and thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you joining me today. We will begin in a couple of moments, so thank you. Good night, everyone, and we are going to begin at this moment. It is 11:33 on the Eastern Time Zone. Good night. Thank you so much for joining me. It's great to see everybody. Haven't seen you in some time. Um, Tonight is primary election night in two key states, Alaska and Wyoming. Now, there are three main key races we will be looking at, and that is Wyoming's House at Large District. Then we also have Alaska's U.S. Senate race. The incumbent Lisa Murkowski, she's facing a tough primary challenge, as well as the U.S. House special election in Alaska as well. So that will be the former governor of Alaska and former vice presidential candidate Sarah Palin is looking to become the next U.S. House member for Alaska. Now, coming into this night, I've already called some races already, but we want to begin with some breaking news coming into this projection. We have a major projection regarding Wyoming's at-large district. So we can now project that Hagerman has won. Now, if you know, Congresswoman Liz Cheney has been one of the most vocalist about her opposition against former President Donald Trump. She came out against Trump when he was making lies about the presidential election, in her words. And she also said that she is one of the most Republicans that took on the challenge of her primary. And she said, win or lose tonight, she would still take it as a win, treat it as if it was a win. She would not act as if someone who loses a race and is very disappointed. Liz says that she did fight very hard and she will never give up her fight, and the battle is not done. But again, breaking news. It's very interesting how it came in. I mean, less than 27 minutes of the polls being closed. at 9:27, that was the minute that the Wyoming Secretary of State reported that Liz Cheney had lost a renomination to Harriet Hageman. And as well, Harriet, she was endorsed by President Donald Trump, and she has received support from many Republicans who did not believe that the election was correct. And her opponent will actually be someone, Harriet Hagerman, will be, of course, a Democrat, but her name is Gray Bull, and she won this election 59-2. Excuse me, she won it 59-2, and she just won it over 2,000 votes. And you know, if you're a Democrat in Wyoming, it's not a very large or major state, but it has a population. And let's just show you how much of this. I'm going to read it to you. I mean, for the Democrat, Wyoming only has one at-large House district. So, in the one district for the Democratic primary, the winner, Grable, got 59.2%. Now, currently, there's 33% precincts in, but at 33% precincts in, there should be way more votes. And then M. Jensen, 25%, that's only 1,243 votes. But now let's go to the Republicans and Harriet Hagerman, who won the Republican nomination, dethroned and ousted Congresswoman Liz Cheney, won 63.2 with 73,096 votes, while Congresswoman Cheney, the incumbent, lost at 32.6%. Do we see how much she lost thereby? That is a well-lost margin, and that is not good for Cheney. And she only got 38,000. In 2020, she won this vote by over 70%, and she was the dominator. I mean, Liz Cheney has not been always the opposition to Donald Trump. I mean, he used to endorse her, and then after the 2020 election, when she came out and said, well, you're denying the election, the legitimate election, why should I still stand with you? So just letting you know, Wyoming and Alaska are the only states that have primaries tonight. So we're going to mainly be talking about Wyoming, and at 1 o'clock a.m., which we will still be on the live, polls will close. And one thing we want to keep in mind is that at 1 o'clock, we don't know when all the results will come in. They tend to take about 30 to 40 minutes to come in. So obviously this will be a very late night, but that's what happens. We just want to know the results. So there we go. That was the one House district for Wyoming. In the Wyoming governor primary, we projected the Democratic and the Republican race. For the Wyoming Democratic primary for governor, we project that Teresa Livingston has won the Democratic nomination for Wyoming governor. Now, Livingston, her Republican opponent will be Mark Gordon, and Gordon, he is the incumbent governor of Wyoming. He's a Republican, and he did win the primary. He will face Teresa Livingston. And really, the only other race is in Wyoming, and it is the Secretary of State's race for Wyoming. And I believe that we did call the projected winner of the Republican primary, as well as it was mainly just a Republican primary. No Democratic primary in Wyoming for Secretary of State. There was no primary that was necessary. So in Wyoming, the Republican primary, Chuck Gray, he did win the nomination by 48.3, 51,693. Obviously, votes are still coming in right now, but I mean, this is incredible to look at, because a lot of Republicans did not vote today. And I mean, you can see that but a lot of Democrats did not vote. I was looking at a story that said that a 40-year-old Democrat voted for a Republican for the first time in her life. And that Republican was Congresswoman Liz Cheney. And she said that she did that because she believed in liberty. And if she believes in liberty, she believes that Congresswoman Cheney was the best one. Now, we're going to be back in a little time, so just give me about 3 minutes while we take a quick commercial break. Thank you and have a great day. We'll see you in a couple of minutes. Welcome back, and thank you so much for staying here. Um, so, in the meantime, because we don't have any other results to report until about 1 a.m., so we do have soon to be an hour, and we are going to go over the 2022 election. And one of the most important things is the U.S. House election. Now, Nancy Pelosi, she's the current incumbent Democratic Speaker of the House, and she was elected Speaker of the House in 2018. And she won by an overwhelming majority. But in 2020, Speaker Nancy Pelosi lost an amount of 14 seats in the United States House of Representatives. She lost 13 seats, and obviously the Republicans pick up one because of redistricting, so they did get plus one seat. This was an incredible win for the Republicans. Obviously, picking up 14 seats in a presidential election is very big. So then, there comes 2022 now. So now, with all these special elections that have occurred in the past and all the deaths that have had to happen, unfortunately, now Kevin McCarthy and the Republican House chamber only need to pick up 7 U.S. House seats. In the 2022, they had a special election and they picked up a seat. And Mayra Flores, she won. That was a pickup for them tonight. Currently, what the House is at is it is at 220 to 211. Now, 220 to 211. Now, tonight we are going to have a special election to determine a new member of Congress. Can it be Sarah Palin? But that will add to it. 200 now, 220. Could it become 221 to 211? Could it be 220 to 212? This is just creating more of an advantage for Republicans because obviously, from polling and from recent traditions in Alaska, Alaska is not a very democratic state in recent years. So it is very likely that former Governor Sarah Palin will be elected as the next U.S. House Representative member. But a week from now, next Tuesday, August 23rd, we will be covering New York and Florida's primary coverage. And in that New York primary coverage, we will love to mention that There will be two special elections in New York next week. A Republican, Tom Reed, he resigned. He was not going to run for re-election one way or the other, but unfortunately, he did resign, so that triggered a special election that Governor Kathy Hochul appointed to the date of August 23rd. Then, August 23rd, Antonio Delgado from New York's House District 19. He was appointed as the New York Lieutenant Governor. He did resign to become Lieutenant Governor, and that triggered a special election. Governor Hochul did appoint the special election to the primary date for the U.S. House seats. Now, next week, we have primary battles. We have multiple incumbents running. And it's just going to be a very good week next week. And I think a lot of people are having a good time. I mean, primary elections are something that it keeps you entertained. And that's why a lot of people keep track of it. And that is why I started to do them. Because I was like, what does everybody like? And I mean, you like to know your community. So this would help you, and just so you could get your results. But in the U.S. House, not looking very good for the Democrats. And traditionally, the party in the White House wins all three chambers of politics. They win the U.S. House, they win the U.S. Senate, and they win the U.S. presidency. In 2022, whenever the midterms, they lose tendency the House. Let's say for 2018, for instance, Donald Trump, the Republican, won the U.S. Senate in 2016. He won the presidency. The Republicans retained the Senate. The Republicans retained the House of Representatives. 2020 now, Democrats won the White House, the presidency, They won the Senate. They won the U.S. House. Now, in the 2018 midterms, the Republicans lost the House, retained the Senate, and they had to wait another 2 years to lose the White House. But that was unpredictable. There's really no tradition for that. So could that be the tradition continuing this year? I mean, it has been a really good past week for President Joe Biden. He passed today, he signed into law the Inflation Reduction Act, killing the Al-Qaeda leader. It's been an extravagant week for President Joe Biden. And can that make the voters turn out to vote on November 8th, 2022? And now let's take a look in the United States Senate. We have some open seats there. Of course, not looking very good. I mean, Democrats are going to likely retain it only because it's the tradition. I mean, they only need one seat to retain it. Both parties, all they need is one seat to win the U.S. House. If they retain all their seats, great. For example, Chuck Schumer. For Chuck Schumer, he's the majority leader. Can he stay the majority leader? Nobody knows. All he needs is to lose one seat and give McConnell or the Republicans one seat, and he will become the minority leader. Now, it's very interesting because it's a 50-50 Senate, so the vice president is a Democrat. She acts, Kamala Harris, as the 51st senator. The Republicans only need to pick up one seat from the U.S. Democrats. The Democrats can pick up one seat, so Kamala Harris never has to come back to tie-break a vote for the rest of the presidency. But it's looking like the Democrats can do that. I mean, today polls were released in Florida. Val Demings leading by incumbent Marco Rubio by 4 points. That's great for Democrats. I mean, there are races where the Democrats are leading, and all they need is that one seat to win it, to get it, and to do it. And that is something that I think a lot of people are going to look at the U.S. Senate because, well, the U.S. Senate is like, it's so close. It's closer than the U.S. House of Representatives, at least. It's one seat, or they only need one seat. They win it. It's Republicans. Mitch McConnell is majority leader. Republicans are the majority party. But if everybody is very curious, I've been hearing a lot of curiosity. This was a question that someone did ask me. They did email me, and they asked me, Patrick Leahy, Vermont's senator, the Democratic senator, is currently the president pro tempore. Now, the president pro tempore is the longest serving U.S. senator currently of the majority party. Now, the U.S. Senator serving on the minority party currently is Chuck Grassley, and he is a senator from Iowa. And what we call him is the president pro tempore emeritus of the United States Senate. He is the minority party's longest serving U.S. senator. But the current majority party has Patrick Leahy. But if the Democrats retain the U.S. Senate, and Leahy is retiring this year, who would become the president pro tempore? That would be California Democratic Senator Dianne Feinstein. Senator Feinstein serves as a California senator, and she serves with California freshman Senator Alex Padilla. And she is going on. She's facing election in 2024. No words if she will run. If she, for some point, has to come out of office, she resigns, or she doesn't run for re-election, Washington Senator Patricia Murray, or Patty Murray, would become the president pro tempore. And to see that, you can go to the United States Senate website and look at the list of seniority. All you need to look at the top, it will say Patrick Leahy, and you can filter it by the party, and you can do that. So that's very good. It's a very helpful resource, and we are about 7 minutes away from the hour of 12 o'clock. Hopefully, polls aren't going to close in Alaska for another hour. We haven't been here in a while, so we are going to go over some of the statistics because I've really missed everybody. I haven't been back since, I believe, sometime in June, and that was very hard to just walk away, and I couldn't do it. I had an injury, and I could not function all of this. It obviously does take some work, and I want to tell you right now, Liz Cheney is getting demolished in her primary. Now, Cheney did already concede. She actually called and she gave a concession speech. So we are actually going to read the truth that is the Twitter for Donald Trump, his social media platform, what he tweeted on what he truthed on Truth Social, his congratulations for Harriet Hagerman on defeating Liz Cheney. He said, quote, "Congratulations to Harriet Hagerman on her great and very decisive win in Wyoming. This is a wonderful result for America and a complete rebuke of the Unselect Committee of Politics, Hacks, and Thugs." President Trump is referring to the Select Committee of January 6th. Now, he says Unselect Committee of Political Hacks and Thugs because the committee is obviously investigating the riot that he threw on Washington. He said Liz Cheney should be ashamed of herself, the way she acted and her spiteful, sensationalist words and actions towards others. Now she can finally disappear into the depths of political oblivion, where I am sure she will be very much happier than she is right now. Thank you, Wyoming. You can see Donald Trump is taking this as if it's a win for him, as if he won Wyoming. He is taking it as a win for himself because he endorsed Harriet Hagerman. I mean, we've seen this several times. A week ago in Washington, Jane Harara Butler, she lost her renomination. She's been in the House for 11 years and she voted to impeach Donald Trump and she lost. I mean, last week, the week before that, Peter Meyer voted to impeach Trump. It was his first vote in the U.S. Senate. He got sworn in January 3rd of 2021. The riot happened January 6th. As soon as he came in, one of his first votes was an impeachment, and he voted yes to impeach Donald Trump. He's a Republican, voted to impeach Donald Trump. He lost his primary to a Republican Trump-endorsed candidate. And it's such a big problem, and everybody is calling it the end. The Lincoln Project declared the end of the Republican Party, instead calling it the Trumplican Party. Of course, the Lincoln Project was created in opposition of President Donald Trump, a group of Republicans in opposition of President Donald Trump. Just looking here to see if we have anything. Liz Cheney is getting a lot of support right now. Everybody's saying thank you and we're wishing you the best. And Cheney actually hinted a challenge to President Donald Trump, and she's trying to maybe even form a presidential campaign. Who knows? This is S.E. Cup from CNN. She says, "Thank you, Liz Cheney, for your enduring commitment to public service, the Constitution, and the rule of law. History will look back on this moment correctly and favorably." Of course, S.E. Cup is a Republican who is in opposition of President Donald Trump, just like how Liz Cheney is right now. Again, just looking to see if anything happened. Now, this was Cheney's statement. 2 years ago, I won this primary with 73% of the vote. I could easily have done the same, but it would have required that I go along with President Trump's lie about the 2020 election. That was a path I could not and would not take. That's Representative Liz Cheney, Republican Wyoming, conceding defeat. Of course, she will not be in the general election in November. Liz Cheney will not be the U.S. representative for Wyoming's at-large district for the 118th Congress. Wow, what a day, what a day, what a day. Anna Navarro from The View. How I wish there was a principled Republican like Liz Cheney who puts country above partisanship, that I could vote in Florida. Sigh. It's interesting to see this all fall out. Like, look how this happened. 27 minutes into the race. 27 minutes into the race, Liz Cheney is declared the loser of her primary. She's declared she will not serve in the U.S. House of Representatives for the next term. But there's always the 2024 presidential election where every member of the United States House is up for re-election. Cheney could even run for the U.S. Senate of Wyoming. She could even run for president. She could be selected as the vice president. Cheney said, "The primary election is over," she says, "but now the real work begins." Liz Cheney is not looking to finish in politics anytime soon. She's a 56-year-old woman that is loving politics. She loves conservatives, but she does not know what this party of conservatives is. And it's a hard time finding it in this 2022 to 2024 election. I mean, lots of Republicans, the ones that the Democrats were voting for, they are going to be ousted. And, it's Donald Trump to blame for that. I mean, is just politics, I guess that's what you could say. Today, President Joe Biden returned to Washington, D.C. at the White House after a South Carolina vacation to sign into law the Inflation Reduction Act, which was recently passed and it was conquered and coded in the United States House of Representatives. Now, not single Republican voted for the bill, instead, all voting in opposition of the bill. Every single House Democrat did vote for the bill, and none were in opposition. Of course, this deal was agreed to by Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin. Of course, Arizona Senator Kirsten Sinema jumped on the boat, making it 50-50, and Kamala Harris did vote for it. So 51-50, breaking the tie vote. Well, we have breaking news coming in right now. For the first time in Alaska, I'm looking into this right now. I'm seeing that polls closed in Alaska, according to one of my sources, but I also see stuff that says that polls close at 1 a.m. Eastern. So I'm going to keep looking into that. So while I look at this and what is going on here, because I really don't know what is really happening right now, I see it says it's 12 a.m. Eastern and polls are now closed in Alaska. So let's see. Are we going to get some more results? We'll be right back. Thank you. Everybody, welcome back. And so I've been informed by the Secretary of State of Wyoming and, of Alaska that there is something going on right now, and there is a discrepancy between the poll closings in Alaska. So we are trying to figure out what is going on, saying 12, but now it's saying 1. So the Secretary of State and their spokesperson are trying to figure out what is happening. They are likely assuming that polls did not close in a county due to time differences in a county. So I've just been informed, literally, I'm reading it right now. It's the Secretary of State, and she just said, or he, sorry, that there was a discrepancy in the votes. So unfortunately, instead of wasting your valuable time, I will now end the broadcast, and instead tomorrow I will go live once again, same studio, go live with their election results for tonight. We will recap everything we did, but much shorter, maybe 30 minutes max. So I will see you tomorrow live. I don't know what time. I will send it out when we are live. So thank you so much, and I will see you tomorrow. Have a great day, and thank you for joining the live. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Good night. Good night. Well, actually, I'll see you today. Excuse me. It is not 12:11 a.m. Bye. I'll see you.